So, what was your experience like going through this?
Mm. Well, it wasn't rushed. I'll say that.
Hey, everybody out there, welcome back to another Friday viewer request episode of the Audiophiles. I'm Andy, that's John, and today's episode is sponsored by Mary T. 33, who has offered up a track for us to go off and listen to. Much like we little behind the curtain here, we get together, we do a couple of these requests um once a week, once every 2 weeks. And the two that we did today were both, I'm pretty sure, artists that neither of us had heard of before. So we both were, either one of us could have gotten either songs. It was just sort of the luck of the draw. I got Mary in the Junkyard to go off and listen to, and now John, you're going to go off and give a listen to a fella named Connan Mockasin. And the track is called "Forever Dolphin Love." And again, this was offered by Mary T. 33, and it was on our Jimmy Eat World a praise chorus video that we did recently. So are you prepared to go off and give this thing a listen, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard his name, and I've heard of his cousin, Colin Slipper. Does some lovely
Yes.
sort of light Polish polka work that's gorgeous. But I don't know what to expect from this. But I vaguely have heard the name Connan Mockasin somewhere, but I don't even know what sort of music it is or anything. So this
Right.
will be a voyage of discovery,
Excellent. Excellent. Well,
if
put on
nothing
your
else.
moccasins and go trot off and give this thing a listen and let me know what you think when you get back.
Start. It's interesting. Um, that starting to sort of straight away put me in mind of Victorian. It's always Victorian. I don't know why, but Victorian toys, like those wind-up music boxes. Um, but they're sort of derelict and slightly broken and not quite the discordant notes. Really interesting. And then this synth noise that comes through. It's almost a siren, but isn't, just cuts it through. Really interesting. Hell of a start. The Casio keyboard. just to quickly say, I like that sort of melt had there, that sort of Casio keyboardy, wonky sounding. um, this is just my brain, I know, and nobody else will be thinking this, but it kind of put me in mind again of this crazy toy shop creepy version of the organ start of Led Zepp's Your Time's Gonna Come, but this is not John Paul Jones. And just as I was thinking, I don't know what to expect next, we get these jazzy drums come through. It's not John Bonham, but it sounds really good. Let's see. I'm just going to take you back to that commit back in again because that was really cool. It's like you're moving through different rooms. Harmonica? R2D2. That sounds good. It is like we're going in through different rooms in some weird, creepy house. That bass sounds really cool, and I really like those drums from earlier. And that dream poppy bit, I guess that was his vocals going sighing. It's like sounded like something on the wing, almost. I don't know. Yeah, this is really interesting. Let's see what else the hell it goes. 4 minutes in.
Dolphin love, ha 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 ha.
That actually almost made me jump because I just wasn't expecting any vocals, and I wasn't expecting this sad robot animatronic Smurf. Um, oh dear, yeah, that was it's because the groove and the bass and everything was really quite hypnotic, and those synth parts at the top was like a sort of almost like an 80s synthy sound to it. Yeah, and it sort of lulled me a bit. I had feelings of sort of doleful. Yeah. And then Laughing Boy comes in. Yeah. Okay.
My dog Steve, she has no hair. I'll talk to her forever. Dolphin love. The Don's live, he's turning heads. He talks to her forever. Dolphin love. My memories that never change of Dolphin forever. Dolphin love.
That was interesting. I don't know what that was. Was that a chorus? Because I don't think it was a pre-chorus because nothing followed it. It sounded really wonky. Just looking at the thumbnail as well, it sounded like that was him singing. There's something slightly. Is there something about I loved her and she was to be my wife? Something a bit pathetic's too strong a word, but there's something a bit sad and a bit sort of inept about it, with the sort of those off-kilter notes as well. Yeah, I feel sorry for the person, really. I don't know. That's just what I'm getting. And then when it came back in, that groove again. God damn, the bass and the drums are excellent throughout. Really sort of keeping the whole thing going. Superb, actually. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring that back a bit. Time change.
The backbeat never change. The Dolphin forever. Dolphin love. The beat way and never dog. Dolphin and never backward place. The beat way and never dog. And Boston forever. Dolphin love.
That was really interesting. I don't mean that as in I didn't enjoy it. Interesting. That was interesting. I did enjoy it. God damn, I thought the drums were superb. Um, got a bit more expressive as he was singing, and there was a bit of splashiness, which totally suits the song. Um, and the bass was just awesome. Those runs, those mini runs they were doing, sort of, you felt like he was twanging it properly. You could almost feel it physically. Really nice, clever. Um, the vocals are not my sort of thing, but they were effective in terms of they made you feel something rather than just nice singing. So I guess that was a clever choice. Yeah. I got this feeling when it came back in and then towards the end as well that some of this the it's like a cousin to krautrock, it's maybe a touch. You could imagine Can doing something similar to bits of this, not all of it. But yeah, it's definitely related. He's got his inspiration from some of Krautrock, some of Can. Yeah, interesting. I'm saying interesting a lot. Yeah. No, this was fascinating and creative and a different sort of song than we normally get on the channel. And I'm really glad that I got to listen to it. Yeah, let's see what Andy makes of this. I'm sure I have some more info on Mr. Connan and what he is all about. Let's go back and talk with Andy.
All right. So you have returned. It's a 10-minute song. There's a lot going on as far as like, the length of time for this one, having already given this a listen myself before we did this episode. What was your experience like going through this?
Well, it wasn't rushed. I'll say that.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, this was we use this term sometimes as a band-aid, the term interesting, but it genuinely was.
Yes, exactly.
It
But
wasn't.
you try to find synonyms so you don't sound like you're kind of like, broad brushing it or whatever.
Yes, your graphic depiction of Houses of Parliament using old cigarette butts is interesting. Yeah, it's not. So, strange and eerie beginning. Reminds me of a Victorian, and I don't know why, but it's always Victorian. Victorian toys or toy shop, derelict music boxes that are wound by an unseen hand. Just as an aside, I was once given by a friend, I think it was at college, a little music box that looked like a matchbox. And for some reason, it had a sort of old Victorian sort of advert thing for what's his name, Captain. Oh, I can't remember his name. First guy to swim the English Channel, and when you round the handle, it played Teddy Bear's Picnic for some reason, and I would do this for half an hour at a time, just going round and round, driving everybody within a sort of 20-meter radius completely fucking mad. I love that. Anyway, so yeah, this is these discordant notes sort of jostle down the corridor of lost melodies until I know I'm sort of bumping elbows with each other until there's a single note, which is not quite a siren, but it sort of cuts through and silences them. And then it's joined by an equally wonky Casio keyboard. And we get for a bit this electronic version of melting cheese dripping off a fully loaded sandwich toaster. That's what I got from that. Now, because of who I am, I got from this a creepy toy shop version of the organ at the start of Led Zeppelin's "Your Time Is Gonna Come." It was like a weird version of that. This is definitely John Paul Jones's fever dream. So as a start, it's interesting. I don't know what to expect, but I doubt it's going to be John Bonham coming next. It could be steampunk opera or a Pet Cemetery seance. but somehow the thumbnail seemed to fit the
Yeah.
music. And then the drums kick in, and for like half a second, John Bonham, no. But we get instead this funky, jazzy groove, and it's really, really nice. But again, we get this. I got this feeling of movement. I think I said actually, it's almost like we're going through different rooms in some weird fucking house or, whatever. Harmonicas drive past the scene in a souped-up Ford Capri, and they're wheezing breaths, sort of phasing as they're going past. Really interesting, because at first you get this really tone, and I'm thinking, is it a weird muted, trumpet or something? But it's not. It's this mouth organs going crazy.
But the effect is like if like an ambulance were to go by you in traffic or something like that. Not to harp on the siren thing, because it's not really a siren like, but it has that effect of like a.
Yeah, it's the thingy bobby effect. You know what I mean? Doppler effect, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, again, this sense of movement,
Yeah.
and sort of journeying through something. And then we get this dreamy guitar, and there's disembodied vocals. Sometimes the vocals and the synth parts sort of bleed into each other, so you're not quite sure which is which. But I think at this point, it was he was vocalizing, but it's kind of a dream pop melody almost. But it's kind of like, I think I said, it was like it was written on the wing. It's just fluttering by, and it's going to go off into the ether at any point. Really interesting. And then, who knew? R2D2 ushers us into the next chapter of our journey with a bit of where this lovely reverb like bass picks its way, is now our guide, and it's picking its way through abandoned tables and chairs of a sort of old dining hall or sort of cabaret place, and it's just abandoned, and there's tables and chairs over, and it's folks like picking us through it, and there's this hypnotic beat, and a synth, I think, similar to the previous vocals, sort of rings out softly, and I'm not sure if it's a plaintive cry or a sated sigh. But then we shuffle into double time, and the sort of moans continue into something which becomes quite akin to like an 80s synth melody. And the bass is now sounding more and more percussive, almost the way it's on. But again, it's almost like a scraper. The drum beats tap like footsteps, almost echoing. This is extremely atmospheric. And as I say, it's kind of lulling me in, it's hypnotic. So then, just after the 5-minute mark, I almost jump at the surprise of bloody vocals singing words. I wasn't expecting that at all. I don't know why, but I wasn't. And I say vocal. It's more of a strangulated sad robot animatronic Smurf. Again, from that, though, I get impressions of something left behind, forgotten and abandoned, full of neglect and regret. The words are really hard to make out because of his stylized vocally, whatever. I catch Never Change, I catch the title, and something about She Has No Hair. Interesting combo. The line's also punctured by which I was wondering if he's trying to do his like dolphin speak or something. I don't know.
Yes.
It just again, it adds to a slight bit of mania to it as well. Hearing someone going is always uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would almost say you're being generous or understating the slight bit when you say slight bit, because there was like sort of this like, what? Sounds like he's off his rocker.
The wonderful fulsome tone of the guitar of the bass continues, as does the doleful synth and the jazzy drums, with really sort of appropriate splashes as well, given the title and all that shit. We then get this, I don't know if it is a chorus. It's a separate bit anyway. Off kilter notes that sound like it's like the musical version of a clown with wonky makeup. It's like, and that's what I got. And again, looked at the thumbnail. Yeah, and he said, I loved her. She was to be my wife. she was to be my wife. I wonder what could have possibly gone wrong. But
No,
we go,
seems like a
you
grounded
go,
dude.
yeah, it's odd. And then we go back into the groove again, and there's a really deft sort of time change. And as the drums kick back in and the bass, I'm thinking this could have a bit of like cam to it. And I hear the phrase "the backbeat will never change," just as I'm thinking that, which is weird. And this is the same as the previous part in terms of what's going on. And it has a feeling of like it's continuing, even though there's something not quite right, something's wrong, or something's gone wrong. But we're trudging along anyway. Yeah, the groove continues with really outstanding bass work. Those twanging runs have like a physical snap to the end of them. And I have a really stronger feeling of this coming from a krautrock place. And then the music dwindles and ends. It was quite elongated. It didn't need to be 10 minutes. I don't have a problem with 10-minute songs, but there was a lot of space in this, which actually gave you a chance to go, sort of visualize things in your head. I would say this is fascinating. I won't be whistling it down the high street tomorrow, but it's a really strong atmospheric piece. In particular, the drumming and the bass were really, really good. They were spot on.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that. I think this sort of thing would be quite easy to lampoon and take the piss out of. However, I thought this was unusual and creative piece and different to anything we usually have on the channel. And I was really glad I got to listen to it. I thought it was really interesting. It wouldn't be a go-to track for me, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience when I gave it a listen before and doing all my notes and giving this thing a listen. I grew to appreciate it a little bit more. I think I've probably listened to it like 2.5 times in preparing for this. And I'll listen to it again, and not because it's like I gotta hear it, like you were saying, like you're not gonna be like rushing to go off and listen to this again. But and I'm not necessarily rushing off to listen again, but I do think it's one of those ones that needs time to unfold a little bit. And
Definitely.
The more you learn about him, the more your brain is open to see his vision when you understand sort of what he's about and the kind of musician that he is. But yeah, I also I instantly went to Holger Chikai when I listened to this, and thinking about the experimenting and the sound manipulation and all of the kind of stuff that went on into maybe less of the splicing and patching and stuff like that. But regardless, their similarities in how they approach music and want to toy and tinker with it and go against the grain of convention. So I instantly thought of that too. So it's funny you mentioned Can, because it's synonymous, I guess. But yeah, that was a really interesting song. I really enjoyed listening to it from the aspect of it made me think, not from the aspect of it made me happy or it filled me with joy for having heard this song. I just liked it because I was like, oh, this is just really, and as you said, here comes this word again, it was just really interesting. It really was. But yeah, Connan Mockasin. He was born Conan Tant Halsford, better known by his stage name Connan Mockasin, in New Zealand. And he is a composer and a record producer. Critically acclaimed and described as a psych funk oddball contrarian, which I thought was a hilarious descriptor. Mockasin has been credited with the 21st century crossover of psychedelic and indie music, and praised for his unique and isolated approach to songwriting. Born in Napier and raised in Teawanga, Hawke's Bay, Mockasin grew up between rural vineyards, the son of a musician. He gained his stage surname from his childhood habit of making moccasin-like shoes out of sheepskin and old motorbike tires. It's quite the hobby to have as a youngster. Probably the first indicator of his eclectic nature that had yet to fully blossom and use music as a vehicle. He moved to Wellington at the age of 20 to further his music career and played in various bands until the formation of Connan and the Moccasins in 2006. They relocated to the United Kingdom the same year, and Mockasin was pursued by record labels before returning to New Zealand in 2008. He released his debut solo album in 2011, Forever Dolphin Love, to critical acclaim and success, particularly in Europe. His second album, Caramel, was released in 2013 and was described by Pitchfork as a stainless world that is both unsettling and fitting. Mockasin has released a string of albums since then, the latest being 2021's Jazz Busters 2 and the sequel to his 2018 album Jazz Busters. Additionally, he has scored and produced his own films. Mockasin's music is known for its unconventional subject matter, themes, styles, and instrumentation. He has been positively labeled as openly weird and a pioneer of trippy mutated soul. Artists who have expressed admiration for him include Beck and Radiohead, the latter of whom he toured with in 2012 in a sold-out Australian tour of Auckland, Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne. Those who have cited him as an influence include Beach House, Tyler the Creator, Neil Shore, Yanya, James Blake, and Charlotte Gainsbourg. The latter two he has since collaborated with. So Connan Mockasin has also worked with Lawrence Arabia, Liam Finn, Dev Hynes, Mick Fleetwood, and MGMT, as well as his father on the 2021 album It's Just Wind. The first release to bear the name Connan Mockasin was the 2010 LP Please Turn Me Into the Snat, which was re-released as Forever Dolphin Love the following year. The album saw a significant change in style to Connan's previous work and has been described by critics as fluid, meandering, and blissful, seemingly effortless and mesmerizing. In a conversation about why he made the album, Mockasin said, "It was never meant to be released. It was just me being silly, really, and Mom forced me to do it." It was at this stage Husford put together an incarnation of the existing Connan Mockasin live band. Matthew Eccles on drums, Nicholas Harsent on bass, Sam Dust on keyboards, and Rory McCarthy on percussions. So let's get into these very interesting lyrics. From bleached waves that never change, from Dalston, Forever Dolphin Love. And I'm not going to do it like him. I'm sorry, folks. Don't want to let you down, Mary, but I'm not doing it. My dull steed, she has no hair. I'll forever love her. Forever Dolphin Love. And Dunn's life, he's turning heads. He talks to her. Forever Dolphin Love. From memories that never change of Dalston. Forever Dolphin Love. Oh, Sunter, I loved her. She was to be my wife. Oh, Sunter, I loved her. She was to be my wife, my wife, my wife. The back seat never change in Dalston. Forever Dolphin Love. The beat way, they're never dark. Dalston, they're never back in place. The beat way, they're never dark. In Boston, Forever Dolphin Love. From memories that never change, from Dalston, Forever Dolphin Love. So I mean, we don't even need to get into the lyrics, right? It's pretty cut and dry. I mean, never a more set of black and white lyrics have we been presented.
I mean, it's not exactly yummy, yummy, yummy. I've got love in my tummy, but you know, I can make it out. But did he say Dalston?
Yes, Dalston. Dalston.
Yeah. Dalston is an area of London.
I assumed it was.
It's one of those areas like Shoreditch and Hackney now that, you know, when you describe someone coming from there, you use the adjective wanker. So it will be Dalston wanker.
Nice. Nice. Sounds like a
That
lovely place.
ultra hip and trendy, you know, hipster
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It was kind of like the Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where all like the hipsters congregate and everything like that. Yeah, that checks out. And Boston has some pockets like that too, so I can understand why he fit Boston into the next line. But yeah, Paul Thompson of Your Beloved Pitchfork would say this in his review of the album. Dolphin glides casually through song and snippet, its construction almost elliptical, its effect amniotic. As such, its highlights seem to emerge after the fact, burrowing in while it's on and bubbling up later. Mockasin's a more ambitious songwriter than his sleepy demeanor would sometimes suggest, though the epic unravel of his tracks are proof enough of that. Ultimately, the ever unraveling, mind submerged forever dolphin love reveals itself to be the work of a guy who's sounding small but dreaming big. And yeah, I think dreaming is an excellent word to describe it. You've used it. Mr. Thompson here has used it. And there is this dreamlike quality to the music and even these sort of like these lyrics that in a dream probably sound profound. But into to just, you know, when you write them out, you're like, this hardly makes any sense. Or really none at all. There's no cohesion here. There's a theme, dolphin love, but what does that even mean? And if it's a metaphor, what for? So yeah, interesting. And I'm better for having listened to this and got another glimpse into this kind of like outside the box musician as we're just coming off doing someone like a Holger Chikai, or even like, I mean, Eno did some real ambient outside the box stuff too, and we recently discussed him. So it's just in this series of like avant-garde musical thinkers, you know what I mean? So it fits. There's room here under our umbrella for that for sure.
The danger is with an artist like this is that they'll put stuff out there in an abstract form, and perhaps with a dash of surrealism and what sounds like he has got a sense of humor as well.
Yes, I was just gonna say, and being cheeky as well.
Yeah, and then what you get is you get think carefully before you speak, John. You get certain people who will then project onto it. This is genius. This is blah blah blah. And it's not whatever it is. It's just to be enjoyed. And you can, you know, get your own stuff. But then, you know, they then will talk about his intentions, which I doubt he really has. He wanted to make this sound and shape it like a sculptor would.
Yeah.
He's not sat out with graph paper drawings of how this is going to work and what his intentions are. I think it's more about feeling than it is about sense.
Yeah. And I knew what you were going to say before you said it. And I got to say, pretty good tact that you just employed there as you were looking to find the right way to say it. Because, yeah, I could totally see someone going overboard on fanboying on this stuff about how profound it really is. And it is good, and it reeks of like artistic quality, but
it's creative.
Exactly. You worded it best. I should have left it there.
And also, we only have a certain quota of swear words we're allowed to use in each episode, and we're bastard near the end of them, so I don't want to waste any more of them. Yeah,
and we've already alienated Dalston, Williamsburg, and pockets of Boston. So what are we doing here? You know, so just hanging ourselves more and more. So, but no, I did really enjoy it. It sounds like you had a very similar experience with it as me, and
I found it really creative.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for Mary T offering it up to us to give it a listen, because it was very interesting and fun because it was new and different. So it's always nice to encounter outside the box thinkers. So thank you, Mary, for offering that up. John, I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on this and say thank you, everybody out there, for giving a listen. John, thank you for devoting 10 minutes to this Dolphin Love track. It was very interesting. Mary, thanks again. If you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. We're trying to grow the channel, and we cannot do that without you. If anyone out there has any suggestions, drop them please down in the comments field for potential future Friday reaction. And we'll be happy to add it to our list, save that if we've heard it before, then in which case it'll be back to the drawing board for you, suggester. But all that out of the way, hopefully John and I will see all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.